There is only one presence, one power, one vast sea of consciousness that is the energy, the intelligence, the will, and the creative power that has brought forth the unfathomable abundance of the universe, that has thrown itself into its creation with reckless abandon, simply to delight in it, that creates joyously without effort or obstacles or thought of limitation. It is the life force that sustains us, holds us, loves us, that is our very breath. And I am that. I am the goddess's opportunity to experience creation as me. I am simply one unique manifestation of spirit, one point in time and space where all of the creativity, all of the power, and all of the love of God is concentrated. I am that. And as I know this myself, I know it for each person here. Each one of us is at our essence that great, unbound, limitless, joyous, creative energy, aching to bring into manifestation everything that will serve our highest good. Free to choose, free to create, free to experience our good. And I know and claim right here and right now that as we collectively align with that truth of our being, the truth will, as Jesus reminds us, the truth will set us free. We know the truth, but the only freedom we need is freedom from the illusion of separation. That it is our conscious alignment with spirit, with truth, that is the very source of our freedom. Because in that alignment, our oneness lies, our oneness with that which has never been bound. We recognize our oneness with freedom itself. I know that each person here is free to choose love, abundance, health, perfect self-expression, to choose that which brings them closer and closer still to their highest expression of self, to their unique contribution to Spirit's delight in the creation. I'm so grateful to know this truth. And so I speak my word into the law, into that limitless creative power that simply, effortlessly, without exception, simply manifests what it is given to manifest, that knows no limit to its freedom to create, but simply says yes. And I know that right now it is saying yes. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Elena, so much for grounding us in prayer as we begin. It's my esteemed and honor to introduce our speaker tonight, speaking in the vein of freedom, free at last. What a thought. I welcome it, and I welcome her. She's an advanced consciousness student, and there, when I think of her, I kind of hold her here in this space as my Lady of Grace, because that's what she always is to me, is graceful and wonderful and pleasant to be around, and I recognize that in her, and I go to that. So thank you. Her name is Bonnie Gonzalez, and she's going to deliver a wonderful message for us tonight in the theme of unchained spirituality. Bonnie, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, so much. I so feel the love. And I know we have a new person on the call, Paulette. I just want to say welcome and join us. I've been with the spiritual community for maybe 8 years, and I just want to say I've never felt so much love. So welcome, and I want you to experience that love too. So thank you. I want to say thank you to Diane for that beautiful meditation, and Elena, thank you so much for that prayer. And Paul did introduce me, but I'll just say it again. I'm Bonnie Gonzalez. I'm almost a practitioner, one more T to cross and one more I to dot, and then I'm free at last. So tonight's theme is free at last. And you guessed it, if you said Martin Luther King, you're absolutely right. So when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. ended his speech saying, "Free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last," he was stating a powerful call to action, because prior to quoting the Negro spiritual, he said, "When we let freedom ring, if we are letting it ring, then freedom must already have the impetus to ring. And we simply are invited to let it be." And part of letting it ring is getting clear of what that looks like and means. So we ask, what does it mean to be free? And that's what I'd like to speak to you about tonight, how I went about finding my own freedom and being able to say those words, free at last. And we will start, because I had the opportunity of completing the Advanced Consciousness Studies class. I was just reflecting back on how that has really changed and impacted my life. We had a class project with Reverend Francione. I've given her a doctorship now, but anyway, with Reverend Francione. And I love how she teaches, how she incorporates art into learning and teaching. Art has that ability to deepen any experience, to bring to light things that you may not have been able to recognize. Art has that powerful ability. So the assignment was to find images and pictures that would tell the story of your coming of age, what was going on in society, as Ernest Holmes refers to as race consciousness. And I'll just say the collective consciousness, or what were the social issues of the time of your coming of age. Excuse me. So she had us collect images and bring them. And then we had a day of, or an evening of art making. And we turned these images into a collage. And I want to share my collage with you. But right before I share that, I want to let you know that I was born in Greenwood, South Carolina. So I'm really a Southern belle that's found her way on the West Coast. But I was born in Greenwood, South Carolina. And I was born at the height of segregation. So with that said, I'll share my collage. Peter, oh, you're already on it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is the collage that I made. And these are the images that I found that depicted the time that I was born and coming of age, up until I was, we moved to DC when I was 10. So anyway, at the very top, you'll see a young girl on a bus. And I was bused to help maintain racial separation. And if you come down, you'll see a Black man at a water fountain, and it's marked colored. And then if you go over to the left, there's Rosa Parks breaking that barrier of saying she would no longer ride at the back of the bus. And then you come down to the middle at the bottom, there's church. Oh my gosh, church was our solace. Church was our everything. Church was our spiritual community. And as you can see on both sides, there are gospel choirs. And I'm telling you, the gospel choirs can raise the dead. So I was raised with that kind of vibrant music, just flowing through my veins. Church was fun, and sometimes church was a drag, because I was a Baptist and they like to stay in church all day. But anyway, so this depicts my early days, my coming of age. So just taking that in, just taking that whole scene in. And just being with that scene for a minute. Thank you, Peter. So I'll move on. So I was about, I'd say I was about 5 or 6 when I knew something was up, okay? It's like, something's not right in this little world of mine. My parents had taken us to, it was Christmas, and my parents had taken us to this department store that was having a Santa Claus. And you were allowed to go and sit on Santa's lap and tell him everything you wanted for Christmas, and he would bring it. Oh my goodness, I was just so excited. If you think I'm excited now, well, that little Bonnie, man, she could really get it going. So anyway, I was just so super excited. I was gonna go tell Santa all the things that I wanted for Christmas. And I'm watching all the kids in front of me go sit on Santa's lap. And it's like, oh, now it's my turn. I can't wait. So I head off to Santa to tell him to sit on his lap and tell him what I wanted for Christmas. And this hand shot out. It was this white lady, and she stopped me. She says, no, you don't sit on Santa's lap. You stand here and you tell Santa what you want for Christmas. I think I was just really shocked. I couldn't understand. I'd seen all the other kids go sit on Santa's lap. But at this point, I don't even remember if I found the words to tell Santa what I wanted, but I was just puzzled. So I thought I'll just go stand off to the side and kind of, because my parents were still there and waiting for the other kids. I'm just going to see what happened that I didn't get to sit on Santa's lap. So I started noticing. Kids that looked like me didn't sit on Santa's lap. Children that were white sat on Santa's lap. That was an eye-opening moment, because then I started noticing so many other things that, as I, in my little mind, would say, that's just not right. Started noticing the water fountains that were marked with that long, I just called it the long word, which was colored. And the shorter word, white. I started noticing those things. And I started noticing how every time it said white, it was always nice and shiny and lovely. But every time I saw the word colored, it was just less than. And we were being bused. And that was really traumatic. We were bused a long way from home to, again, as I said, maintain the racial separation. So we were bused far from home. The schools were okay, physically okay, but the books that we got they were ragged. Maybe they'd have pages missing, in just dilapidated shape. And I remember this coming from not just one teacher, but from multiple teachers, saying the reason that you have old raggedy books is because the government knows that you're never going to amount to anything. So they don't want to spend money or waste their money on the likes of you guys. But you know, they would say that. Every time they said that, I just knew they were not talking about me. They were not talking about Bonnie. This is me. I am going to be something. But yeah, in those days, you did not talk back. So you just kept going. We just kept going. We kept going to school. And the thing about those books, when I think back, my parents had to pay for those books. I can remember hearing my parents one night when they thought we were asleep saying, you know, the kids really need shoes for school, but we can't afford to buy the shoes and pay for the books. And I remember them choosing to pay for the books. And my father was a really hardworking man in the South, even though we did some sharecropping. And at that time, I didn't know I was a sharecropper. But anyway, later I realized what was going on, the lay of the land. But my father got tired of living in the South and being so oppressed. And and having us bust and just so many different things. So he decided we would move to Washington, D.C. So off we went to D.C. And I sometimes think it's probably like the Clampetts going to Beverly Hills, or Mr. Smith goes to Washington. It was just a whole different vibe, a whole new energy. And believe it or not, I got to go to the March on Washington. I know you're probably counting on your fingers now trying to figure out how old I am, but just believe me, I was old enough to go. But I didn't go for the reason you're probably thinking, wow, going to hear that great speech. My sister was about 4 years older, and she and her friends wanted to go to the March on Washington to pick up guys. They called them, they wanted to pick up some Southern guys. They wanted to see what the difference was in that flavor. So anyway, and I remember my mom saying, oh, no problem. Yes, you can go, but you have to take Bonnie. And they were, what? So my sister desperately wanted to go. So I got to go. I got to go to the March on Washington. And it's so true what Maya Angelou says about people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. That March on Washington, I really right now still can't even remember Martin Luther King saying free at last, or I have a dream. I just remember there was a collectiveness, a unity of the crowd. There was a hum, there was a buzz that was just alive. People were coming together in truly brotherly love for a common cause. It was absolutely magnificent. Even now, when I think about being there, I get chills down my spine just from being with so many like-minded people, with people that really wanted change, whose lives had been impacted just like mine, and they wanted change, and you could feel it there. You could feel the hope of that change. And it was still, I feel it was just an honor of my life, one of those high points of your life that you can look back to and just be in gratitude for that, for being in gratitude for having experienced that kind of unity, common cause. As we say in this philosophy, we're all connected. We're all part of the one. And that is one time in my life, though I was very young, I could feel that. I think that is the thing that I remember the most. So with that said, with that groundwork laid, I want to move to George Floyd's murder. George Floyd was 46 years old. I have a son who's 45 years old. And I realized that could have been my son on the ground with a police officer's knee on his neck. That could have been my son hollering for his mama, hollering for Bonnie, hollering for his mama to come. That moment, I only heard it on the radio. I've never seen, I just heard it on the radio. And I was talking to Margot and I said, oh my God, I heard this man on the radio. What happened? And she said, he died. And all I could remember hearing is that voice hollering for his mama, hollering for his mama. That moment cracked me open to something that had been holding me back, that had been my chain, that I could not be free of. What it broke open for me was my rage, my deep rage that I had tried to suppress all along. I remember the first time I felt that kind of rage was when that Rodney King beating, and when those officers were found innocent, or they didn't They weren't found guilty. That was the first time I felt rage. And when those fires started to burn in LA, I was like, yes, yes, yes. But I tamped it down. I said, I've got to tamp this down. This will destroy me. This will kill me. This rage will be like a volcano that will explode all over the earth and destroy everybody on it if I allow it to rage. But this time with George Floyd, I could not. I could not tamp it down. I couldn't even find an extinguisher to put it out. So what I did, I just walked right into that rage. And I let it rage. I let it rage for that little girl who couldn't sit on Santa's lap. I let it rage for that little girl that was bused so far, freaking far from home. I let it rage for that little girl who was told she'd never be anything. I let it rage for my father, who couldn't even go to town to vote. I let it rage. I let it burn. If you think the images that you see on TV of those fires burning, the rage inside of me, that it makes those fires look like a small candle. I had this rage in my belly that was just on fire, on fire. With having had these last 2 years of advanced consciousness studies, learning to push nothing away, it prepared me, I feel, to walk into this rage. And I realized that this rage is energy. This rage is energy. That's a lot of energy happening there, Bonnie. And so this is the question that I asked myself with this rage. I asked myself, what is mine to do? What is mine to do here and now? In our studies, and I can't even say just in my studies, but I have tremendous faith and know that this statement is true, that God is everywhere. God is in every situation. There is no situation that it's not. There's no spot, I think is the other word, that it's not. And I knew that this rage burning inside of me, God is me as me, was just raging, but still asking, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? What is mine to do in this instant? The more I asked that question, the more stories I started to hear, the more people I started to be surrounded, to realize for every young person you see out there in the street protesting, every African-American young man, young woman you see out there protesting, there's an equal number that are at home and afraid of going out, absolutely terrified of what the police will do with them. I have a young nephew who's afraid to drive and he has a job. I have another friend's son who's just even afraid to go out. He talks about the Trayvon Martins, you know, that the kids that are just walking and not even doing anything and are murdered. And that is what mine is to do, is to sit with these young people, to sit with them, to hear their stories, to hear their ideas, to hear their thoughts and opinion. They may offer us a new insight on the issues that we're grappling with today. I want to sit with them. I want to sit with them so that they know that the world is waiting for them. The world is waiting for them to become who they're going to be. We're waiting. We want to embrace you. I don't want them to ever hear that you'll never amount to anything, because that is not true. That is not true. Your freedom lies here. Your freedom lies here. In as much as talking with these young people and wanting them to know that they are valued, they are loved, they're welcomed into the community. My heart aches for the mothers that have been telling me, you know, I'm afraid when I send my son to the store to get a loaf of bread, I just pray that he makes it home safely. When I was coming of age, it was like, oh, don't go out after dark, don't be in certain places. But now it's just anytime. My young, beautiful granddaughter, she's 21 and she's mixed, she's biracial, but she's a brown girl. And she told me, she calls me Lola. She says, Lola, I just don't feel safe. I just don't feel safe. And I just held her and prayed with her. And afterwards, she just said, that's the most calming feeling I've ever had. Just being with you, Lola, is really calming. And I feel protected. So that is mine to do. That is what I am to do. To be with these young people and to be with the parents of the young people, because I am a mother of adult Black children. I have that wisdom and experience to be able to offer if they're asking for it, but I want them to know I am here for whatever they need. I am here for you, not for me. I am here for you. Please take from me what it is that you need. Allow me to give. Allow me to give so that our world is better. And what I want to say, when I say free at last, who would have ever thought the thing that I feared the most, which was my own fear and rage, would be the thing that has freed me, that has freed me. Who would have known that rage could lead me to my higher purpose, could align me with my higher purpose? It's aligning me in a way that I feel I am living on purpose. And with that said, because of this rage that I allowed to just burn and allowed God to step in as me, has given me what I call freedom, that I can say, in the words of Martin Luther King, free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last. I feel truly, truly, truly liberated. So when they talk about George Floyd sacrificing his life, I thank him. I thank him. Because it has truly, truly cracked me open in a way that I never imagined. That I never imagined. I just want us all to take a collective deep breath, because I need to take a collective deep breath. And I want to just pose the question to you. What does it mean to be free? What does it mean to be free? If you want to use the, I guess it's the participants button, and raise your hand, that would be wonderful. And if no one raises their hand, I'll raise your hand for you. If anybody would like to speak to any, speaking to what does it mean to be free, and the other is if that one doesn't resonate, what is yours to do? What is yours to do? And what is yours to do to free yourself? That's the question.
Bonnie, this is Dorothy Mendez, and I just want to say thank you for what you have put yourself out here today, recognizing and knowing that you are loved. God loves you, and I love you too. And I thank you for this evening.
Dorothy, that means so much, honey. I love you, love you.
Bonnie, it's Susan Brecker.
Oh, Susan, oh, I'm getting all the lovies.
Sweetheart, you did it. It was brilliant. It was heartfelt. It was filled with authenticity. You are that you have expressed. And I am so grateful that you said yes. And you continue to say yes. Thank you for letting us know even more of you than we have ever experienced before. For it is that love, it is the love that has given us even more of the beloved Bonnie that we love so very much. You are my blessing, and I am grateful. And there is something that has come up for me in the past few days. I know I'm not racist, but now I know that's not enough. It's not enough. I'm not sure what mine is to do about that right now, but that's what I know for now. And I'm grateful, so grateful to you to assist me in expressing that myself. I love you, Bonnie Gonzalez. You are my heart.
Right.
Thank you for saying yes. I'll talk to you later, my darling.
Thank you. Oh.
Bonnie, this is Anthony. I think we have a Paulette. Did you want to say something? Unmute yourself, Paulette.
Okay, hi. Bonnie, wow, thank you so much. I closed my eyes and just heard your words, and they just really went in deep. And I'm not racist, but I, like the previous speaker, know there's stuff I have to do. I don't know what it is right now, what is mine to do, but I know it's not enough just to say I'm not racist. It's just not enough. And I don't know right now what it is to do, but I look forward to finding the answer to that. And you asked, what is freedom? And for me, freedom is turning away from that what I fear.
Oh,
You shared what you feared. And I realize fear is what can overpower us and hold us from our essence, our truth. It's what keeps us chained. And so I will look at my fears so I can be free. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Thank you for coming tonight, Paulette. I know it's your first night. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Bonnie, this is Constance.
Yes, Constance.
I can't raise my hand because I don't have, it doesn't allow me as a co-host to
to do that.
But you know what this has brought up for me is it's starting to allow me to tap into my rage. The rage that when I think about growing up, because I grew up in segregation as well. I was on the other side of the tracks. And I remember, I just brings up the rage of all the kids I never got to know.
Yes.
Of the lies that I was told. Not necessarily by words, but by actions. And it just brings up the rage of the, I passed a sign the other day and someone had written and put on the had left it out saying racism is a pandemic, and it is, you know, and I think one of the things that's mine to do is to help people understand the difference between the statement of being having personal beliefs about other people and what structural racism is. Because I totally believe that as white people, we cannot not be racist. Because we live because there is only one, we are part of that one, and that one is that society that we live in. It is just infused structurally with racism, which is why George Floyd died, which is why you didn't have good school books, you know, which is why I wasn't able to make friends with kids from the African American culture, you know, community. So it really is that's all, and that's mine to do, is to continue to educate myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
To educate myself and to recognize those parts of me where that institutionalized, that structural racism still exists, and to let them go. And to help other people do the same. And so I am so appreciative of your authenticity, and I'm so appreciative of your rage. I am so grateful for your rage, because
Yes.
and I think about Kali. I think about the goddess Kali, and Kali, you know, she used her sword to cut through illusion, and she was a goddess full of rage, and thank God for that.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Constance. Thank you. Thank you for asking me for tonight.
Krista has something to say. Krista, you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. It's hi, my dear Bonnie.
Hello, Krista. Thank you.
Thank you so much for just oh my goodness, the amazing, beautiful, precious heart that you are, and for being my soul sister, and for sharing so tenderly and vulnerably and authentically, and I just cherish it for you. So it's so wonderful, such an honor to be here with you in this space. So I was thinking about that whole "what's mine to do" piece, and I appreciated that Constance said what you said, Constance, about being racist. We are marinated in white supremacy conditioning in this society, in race consciousness, and it's our experience. And so what's mine to do is to constantly investigate and notice the ways in which our conditioning in this society has informed thoughts, ideas, actions, words, beliefs, and really as just nauseating as that is to recognize in myself, if I can't recognize and name it, and as long as we say we aren't racist, we will never change anything, because we have been marinated in it. And so it's hard, and it's impacts my whole body to say and to notice, and it's heartbreaking, and there's grief, and there's anger, and all of those things, and I have to name it. I have to say it as often as I can, and especially to white folks, because we haven't noticed the ways in which we're conditioned. So I just really appreciate you. I appreciate this space, and I also recognize that it's our job as white folks to undo racism. That men gave the vote to women. It's the people who are in privilege who have to do the work, and this is a huge emotional lift for you tonight. And I just honor and appreciate that, and want us as white folks to recognize that this should not be your work. This is our work. We have got to dismantle the systems that oppress folks of color.
Yes.
And I love you.
Oh, look, Krista, thank you so much. I do want to say one thing for Krista before she goes. Krista just became a licensed practitioner last Friday. So just congratulations to Krista, my sister from another mister. So thank you. Thank you, Krista. I was going to say, one thing that I just want to add about my rage, letting it rage and rage and rage, is that I was able to get in touch with what was underneath that rage, what was fueling that rage. What was fueling that rage was deep, deep, heartbreaking sadness. Heartbreaking sadness for the racism that still continues. And that's where my healing needs to begin, is in that place. So I just wanted to add that. And did anyone else have a comment?
I'll share, Bonnie, real quick.
Elena, yes. Classmate.
I told this story lately to someone, but I've been thinking a lot about, like you said, what's my mind to do. I should start my video. I'm having more of just the emotional response to you, Dave, because you came from such a heartfelt place. And I had the opposite experience of growing up in the Deep South. One of my earliest memories was being in a department store and my mother and my sister just screaming suddenly and shocking me. And the problem was that I had started to go to the wrong water fountain. I was too little to know. And I remember, like, you talking about the confusion. I remember looking at them going, but they're the same. I don't understand. And you talked about, little Bonnie, and I started thinking about, little Bonnie and little Elena together would have been, oh my God. And like when the adults start shaking when the two of you walk in the room. We never have been allowed, and how incredibly sad is that, so yeah, that, I guess those feelings kind of then fuel me to dig deeper to figure out what it is that is mine to do. So I loved your talk tonight. It was just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. I had promised Paul I would be finished 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to show a video, but before we show the video, Peter, could you just put that, could you put the slide back up for, on the collage? Oh, Paul's coming in. Oh, maybe I'm getting kicked off. I don't know.
No, proceed, please, madam. Proceed.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to show that slide once again. Yeah, Peter, thanks. Yeah, I just want to show that slide again because I just wanted to finish with this, that a part of my rage was that I thought I had been there and done this before. As you can see with the busing, with the water fountain, with the Rosa Parks, with the choir. But I realized that in my era, we did accomplish, there's not busing now for racial separation. Those water fountains, thank God, are gone. And you can sit anywhere on the bus now. But the funny thing is most people don't want to be on the bus, but just that some things have changed. So that gives me hope for where we're going forward in the future. Thank you, Peter. And I'm just going to read this, and then right after this, I will be ready for the video, Constance. So I just want to end it with Dr. Martin Luther King again. Dr. King understood that freedom has two partners, responsibility and action. Accepting responsibility does not mean assigning blame. It means that we understand that our divinity gives us the ability to know our highest good and the highest good for others, and to act accordingly at all times in all situations. Freedom stands for something greater than just the right to act however we choose. It stands for securing that right for everyone in the world. And Rosa Parks once said, "I would like to be remembered as a person who wanted to be free, so other people would also be free." And thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. I am so honored. I feel that this is how change happens in the world, is with dialogue, but honest, heart to heart, heartfelt dialogue. Thank you so much. Namaste. And I don't hear the volume, Constance.
Sorry, we always make that mistake. I forgot to unmute myself, so I'm starting again.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a dream. My four little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. In what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. We will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
What's the name of our school? We need to listen to our hearts, right?
We should celebrate it because like he deserved it. He like risked his life for us to have a voice to speak up against like racism.
So before I start the prayer, I just want to say that what came up for me, Bonnie, one of the things that you said when you were talking about rage, it came up the acronym really acknowledging grief endured.
I like.
So let's all just take a breath and just breathing into this moment, this right now moment, being so grateful for this awareness, for this love, for this knowingness, for this anchoring, and knowing that all of that is spirit, is the divine Mother, Father, God. Knowing that spirit is all of that and so much more. I know that I am that I am, that I am one with the one, that there is absolutely no place in me, as me, or through me, that God is not. And I know that that is true for each and every person on this call, and each and every person that listens to this call, and each and every person beyond the limits of this call. I know that we all unite in this oneness of faith and freedom and liberty and justice. And I know that no matter what the appearance, that right now, right here, we recommit, we realign with the spirit within us, knowing that we step into that rage as an anchor for our love, as an anchor for the truth, as an anchor for the knowingness that yes, there is freedom for all. Yes, there is freedom for all. We know it, we declare it, we hold it, and we know that it is possible because we couldn't see it if it wasn't. So we just know that as we stand in this place where we see and we feel and we touch that we don't like, and that we don't agree with, and that causes us pain and anger and rage, that we are just growing. It is our growth spurt to move forward and to say, I am not going to take it anymore. I realign with the truth of who and whose I am, and we stand in that place knowing without a shadow of a doubt that there is and will be freedom for all. And so we just thank all of our ancestors and Martin Luther King and all of the people that have preached and all of the people that have taught and all of the people that have gotten up from the bus or sat down, and all of the names that we don't know.
Thank you.
All of the names that we'll never know. All of the people of color that we just don't even have a handle on. We say their names in our mind, knowing that the unnamed is the name for love. And we just bless them. And we know that we carry with us their rage, their lesson, what they come to teach us.
Yeah.
And as we do, we walk in love and harmony and infinite possibility. And that for this and so much more, I am grateful and thankful. And I'm so glad to walk with a team and a family called Oakland Center for Spirit.
Yes.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Robin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. You can turn on your mics and your cameras so we can have a brief moment to close. And pretty soon, Constance is going to open up the rooms for prayer. If you want to say hello to one another. And I do, Bonnie, want to ask you to take a second and scroll through your voluminous chats if you haven't had a chance. There's a lot of wishes in there for you.
Oh, wow.
I've not seen that much chatting in a long time going on a Wednesday night. So they have a lot of messages for you. And for the rest of us.
To talk about. Well, let's chat about.
I'm sorry, Bonnie.
I just said, let's give them something to chat about. That Bonnie song. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to chat about.
Well, you certainly did.
You're the one, Bonnie. You're the one.
Incredible, Bonnie. My goodness, thank you so much for sharing.
No,
oh my
bye.
God.
Thank you.
Get on mute on video. This is Margot. How do I get free?
To get free at last.
That was amazing, Bonnie. I tried to participate. I couldn't get my little thing to work.
It's okay. I know you're there. I can feel you.
You turn that energy into love.
Yes. You're right. Yes. Can you feel the love tonight?
Yes.
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 But I'd like to know what you do say to those young men who are afraid. What is there to say?
That yours is to listen. Mine is to listen. Because these young people have wisdom. They have wisdom. They know. They have insight that we can't even see because we've been so conditioned in a certain way. And you would be surprised if you can learn from young people. There is nothing to say. It's all about listening, just listening. And if they want to hear my story, fine, but that's not my reason for showing up. It's just their story.
Good answer. Hi, Krista. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
All my blessings. So great to see you all.
Okay, get it out of your system so that they can go into the prayer room. Bless you, Bonnie. I look forward to
Yay.
look at that baby.
job.
Okay, and welcome Paulette for being here. Okay, y'all.
All righty.
I'm gonna
Great.
turn it over to Constance. Bless you. Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Deadline for ministerial school applications is October 1st.
Uh-oh.
Say that again.
I said deadline for ministerial school applications is October 1st.
Amen. All right.
Sisters.
So who wants prayer?
I was going to get a prayer. I need a prayer.
Okay.
Nikki does.
If you hook me up with something, that'll be great.
I will. Okay.
Love you guys. See you next time. I'm going to disappear. Constance going to make me disappear in a minute.
Okay, so I'm going to open all the rooms. So the 3 practitioners who have come forward, you're going to get a little message that says, go to your breakout room.
Go to your room.
Yeah, go to your room. Eliza,
you can send me to a room if you want, Constance.
Do I have to mute myself or just no?
No.
Okay.
Just actually, Constance will send you to your room.
Yes, I'm going to your room. So I'm opening all the rooms. Now you just have to say yes to going to your room. So, all right. So, Nikki, I'm going to assign you.
Okay.
And Bonnie, I'm going to assign you. And Sam, I'm going to assign you there. And Eliza, I must you there.
Constance.
Who's there?
Hey, it's Elena. It looks like you don't have any more. Eliza and I were both offering to pray with people. So It looks like you have no more people, but Eliza's still in the room. I don't know if you need to set her free or not.
Move to, I can't. She has to free herself, I'm afraid. That's life.
She has to figure it out. It's like one of those puzzles.
Yeah. I can
Okay.
say
All right. Well, I will be gone then.
Okay, just a quick thing. I'll tell you this. I was watching a video about setting up the panels. And one of the things they recommend, because you might want to start working on it, is not to use virtual backgrounds.
Okay.
Because you really want to be able to hone in on the other people. So
Okay.
there are times when it's necessary, you know, if you can not do it, don't do it.
Yeah, I see my clients on a platform that doesn't have them, so I've got a screen I can.
Right.
Okay. Good tip.
Right.
All right.
I'm sending out more too. So.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Beautiful, beautiful prayer.
Thank you.